Hello, my fellow fanfiction readers. This is I, Dark Symphony 777, with another fanfiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story or any other stories you want me to read or review. Oh, this one is kind of a weird one, because when I decided to do these videos, I wanted to keep them short and sweet, because that way I have time to do a review and a reading one day, and then just may upload one of those videos a day. But with this one, I kind of already read the story, so I kind of already know what happens. So I decided I'll cheat a little bit. I'll read this story. It's wrong page. I'm on the tournament. Oh, so there we go. So the story I'm reviewing today is called Subspace Emissary Bloopers. It's written by Radikami. I more than likely butchered that. And it's a humor parody story of Subspace Emissary. So let's get started with the review. What's the plot? The plot is basically, it's just the Subspace Emissary. If you don't know what the Subspace Emissary is, it was the official story mode of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, all the way back in the beginnings of the Nintendo Wii. It was really, really popular with a lot of fans. A lot of people said it was kind of easy. Granted, I didn't have that much problem with it, even on the hardest difficulty, to believe it or not. Aside from a couple parts, Taboo included that stupid wave move. I hated Taboo on Intense. And so this is basically just a balls out parody of it. This is just making fun of it. So the plot of Subspace Emissary is in the world of Smash, or the Smashers are living, and they get attacked by the Subspace Army, that is led by this guy named Taboo, who basically tries to destroy everything with these bombs and blow. It's kind of confusing. You would have to actually watch the clips of the show to kind of get it, because it's like, it's kind of really weird. But that's the overall plot of that. Now, what I like about it, when it comes to parodies of anything, like if you're doing a full-fledged parody of a story or something like that, anything, then you gotta keep two things in mind. One, you gotta keep the overall feel of the story, which means you gotta have the story carry the same beats that the original have. So you gotta go this, you gotta do this, but you have to do it in a comedic sort of way, and you can easily just skip this part, stretch this part, however you want to do it, but you have to keep the overall feel of the original story intact. Otherwise, it's not really going to be a parody. It's more just going to be, what the hell am I looking at? And this story kind of is double-edged in that regard. For one thing, it does keep the overall feel of the story. It does have a lot of the same beats, and where the characters meet and where do they go. You get that feel of where they're going, how they're doing it. The problem is the jokes. Oy. The jokes are incredibly blaze, and oh my god, it's repetitive. It's like screeching, death threats, and like non sequiturs out the wazoo. Oh, there is one or two jokes here that I kind of liked. There was a joke when they were in the Halberd. It was Meta Knight, Lucario, and Snake versus Dark Zelda and Dark Peach. And Snake is becoming a butt monkey with like Zelda and Dark Zelda and Peach actually pretending to like wear clothes. Like, does this dress make my butt look big and stuff like that? And Meta Knight goes, "Do you have anything that can stop him?" And Lucario goes, "I have something, but I never done it before." So he pulls out a picture, an autographed picture of Johnny Depp. It's like, what is that? It's an autographed picture of Johnny Depp. That's mine. And they start beating each other. And the funniest part was basically after that, Meta Knight just asked Lucario, said, "Why do you have a picture of an autographed picture of Johnny Depp?" He said, "You never know where you might meet a fangirl Johnny Depp." I actually laughed at the first time I read it. So the reason I'm pointing this out is a lot of the jokes, they're really, really bad. Again, there's some good jokes into it, but they don't. This joke has not. A lot of the story has not aged well. That's the problem. A lot of when it comes to stories, you really shouldn't try and make it age badly. It's a comedy story, and I know comedy is very subjective. These are just my thoughts. Which is an overall problem with comedy, because if you're trying to make a long comedy, this story is about 80,000 plus words. So trying to make a comedy story of this length is very, very hard, because you have to try and keep the reader's interest throughout the entire story with the jokes. And, the longer it goes, the more likely they're just gonna get tired and just go, then I don't want to read anymore, because the story has way too many jokes. Except for one part. I'll mention that near the end. There are way too many jokes. It is complete oversaturation here. There has to be some sort of boundary of how to do comedy story. I prefer comedy stories being short, this length, unless you're doing something like a Mad TV style comedy show, like the Mega Man parody hour stories that I reviewed. Those work because they're in essence a bubble. Each chapter is basically a separate parody, so there's no connection unless they're doing like the Rocky, or they're doing a kind of a mini series within the series. But outside of that, you shouldn't try and make a story this long and just make it pure comedy, just make it run on jokes without the reader just getting tired and just and that's it. Character development. Again, this is a comedy story, so you shouldn't expect a lot of character development. Which is kind of a shame, because the author actually did a good job on Lucas. The author actually did a good job at the end with Mario. Red got some decent character development. And Meta Knight. Sorry, I completely forgot the name. Meta Knight. Meta Knight was probably my favorite character, because he plays the straight man, but then he completely goes full ham. And I love me some ham. Ham. I'm getting distracted. I'm turning into Homer Simpson. Ham. But outside of those four characters, all the characters, they're not bad. It's just they're more the same. You take all these kooky characters and you put them all in line, besides the four I mentioned, and you kind of get them to talk in the situation, and they just feel like the same. It's like you hear one talk, you're pretty much hearing them all talk, and it kind of gets annoying. Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew. Shameless plug, drink Mountain Dew. It's good for you. No, it's not. It's not good for you. But yeah, I understand when it comes to comedy stories, character development doesn't really matter. But if you're trying to go for a story of this length, then it kind of does matter, because you got to get the characters to grow. And, to help with the jokes, you also got to keep some straight men, which thankfully the author does, with not only the four characters I mentioned, but also Lucario, Ganondorf to a degree, Snake, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess Captain Falcon, outside of him randomly saying Falcon. Because that actually kind of gets annoying. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Yes. Oh, crap. credit. Oh no, now I'm channeling SMG4 for some reason. So where was I? Oh yeah, character development. Characters, again, aside from the last 4 characters, they're all pretty samey. Which wouldn't be that bad if there was less characters, but in fact, there's a lot of characters in Subspace Emissary. Kind of makes it hard. Grammar. I saw all of 2, maybe 3 grammar errors in the story. I lost count. Nothing really bad. Pacing and imagery. This is the problem, because comedies can be a double-edged sword. It's all about the pacing. If you don't have good writing, if you don't have good pacing, then a lot of really long comedy stories are going to fall flat. Unless, again, you're doing some kind of sketch show where the pacing does... You can throw the pacing out the window. But in this type of story, it kind of helps. The pacing, while it feels good, it doesn't help with the fact of the comedy. Jokes come so fast, so frequently, you get nonchalant about it, like partway through. Imagery, it actually does a good job with the imagery. You get to feel what the characters feel and how they behave and interact with the other characters. It's good, but not great. So, would I recommend this? Final thoughts and favorite part. This is the hard one. When it came to would I recommend this, it all came down to the problems that everything up to the fight with Taboo is just blah, and this kind of bleeds in with favorite part. However, I'm going to give the author a lot of credit. That entire part with Taboo, we got an upturn in quality, we got an upturn in character development, thank God. The jokes are actually good, you get a lot of character development. The author actually manages to stretch the Taboo boss fight into 5 chapters, which is amazing. And that's my favorite part, that just those entire 5 chapters. Because the quality of everything that I said that's bad is pretty much jumped up. We got a massive increase in quality from those 5 chapters. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, what about Alice Reflections of Madness? You said the same thing about that story. I said, yes, I did say the same thing about Alice Reflections of Madness. The difference between this story and that story is Alice... You weren't even halfway through... you weren't halfway through the story when the upturning quality kind of happened. 2, the first 5 chapters weren't really that bad to begin with in Alice. And 3, the upturning quality was so amazing after Barrel Bottom that... I mean, it's pretty much looking at a completely different story. It's just the upgrade was that amazing. While this one, it just went from bad to good. While Alice went from good to good, went from okay to near perfection, in my opinion. So would I recommend this? Probably. I would have to do both. Yes and no. Because on the one hand, no, because everything up to the Taboo fight is pretty horrendous. But yes, because that makes the Taboo fight just that much more better. And overall, I actually really like. Again, I really like the Taboo fight. The author did something creative. I think the author is a girl, because the author actually shows up multiple times and refers to her as she. So I'm gonna take it as a she. Even like the one big bugbear I have besides first person, that's putting songs in fanfictions. The author actually managed to pull that off. At like the nth hour. So I have to give the author lots and lots of kudos for those 5 chapters. But it was a pain to get there. So final thoughts. If I had to fix it, so my final thoughts are this: if you want to fix this story up, just basically take the quality of the taboo fight and just move it into the first 18 chapters. So yeah, everything from the first chapter to the end of the Great Maze, all we all know and despise. Just fix those 18 chapters up with the quality and attention you gave those next 5 chapters, and you're good. I would not even hesitate to say recommend the story if you manage to do that, because if you make these into the same quality as the taboo fight, there's not going to be no contention to say I would recommend this. I would not even hesitate. So, Subspace Emissary bloopers. A good idea, executed actually decently overall. It's just there were just really too many jokes for my taste. So, that has been my review of Subspace Emissary bloopers.